Hi YouTube, Timothy Unkert here, and in this video we're going to install VS Code on a Chromebook and set it up for some basic C or C++ programming. So what I'm first going to do is go to the VS Code page, or the Visual Studio Code page, which is code.visualstudio.com, and I'm going to go, since I have a Chromebook, and download the .deb. That's going to take a moment. I'm going to click Show in Folder, and then I'm going to right-click and click on Install with Linux. I'm going to click Install and OK. Okay, now the app is installed, so I'm going to open this up. I'll see it's right here, but sometimes you may have to go down and check in your Linux apps. I'm going to go back up and click on Visual Studio Code. Once it opens up, I'm going to right-click on this and pin it to my taskbar. I'm also going to install something in my terminal, and I want to install Build Essential and GDP. So I'm going to do sudo apt install Build Essential and GDP, and I'm going to hit enter and let that install. I'm going to select yes. Okay, now that that is installed, you can close out the terminal. From here, we have the welcome screen on VS Code. And here we can select the light theme, keep with the dark theme, or do a high contrast, or we could see more themes. There's all these tips here that you can go through. There's another section. There's actually, I think, 2 sections after this. So you can go through that if you want. I'm going to mark done. Here we have our basic welcome page. I'm going to uncheck that because I don't need to see that every time it starts up. And I'm going to close this. Then I'm going to open up the settings with Control, comma. A personal preference of mine in the settings is to have the custom title bar turned on. You can choose whether you like that or not. It's prompting me to restart, so I'm going to do that. Now that it's restarted, you'll see that the title bar is back. Another thing you may want to search for is telemetry. From here, there are levels. You'll see all air, crash, or off, where it gives you crash reports, air telemetry, usage data. I'm just going to pick, let's go with air. You can choose whatever you want of these, leave it on for all. That does help the product get better, and since this is provided free to you, you may want to use that, or you may want to go all the way and turn everything off. Again, that's completely up to you. Okay. All right. After that, I'm going to either click on this, or you'll see I can do Control Shift and X to open up the extensions. You'll see the popular extensions will load up. The C++ one is the one we want. This is provided by Microsoft. To learn more about a particular extension, you can go hover over the title and click on it, and it will open up a page where you can read about the extension. You notice that Microsoft provides this for free. It provides IntelliSense debugging and code browsing. And you can go and look at the overview and so on and so forth. Okay. All right, I'm going to click Install. Okay, now that extension is installed. It's doing a few things to set up the C and C++ for the Linux Chromebook. Okay, I'm going to close that. I could either close it by clicking on the X or doing Control W. I can open the Explorer with either clicking on this icon or doing Control Shift E. I personally like the keyboard shortcuts. I'm going to, let's open a folder and let's create a folder called C Programs. And let's select that folder. It's going to ask me if I trust the authors of the folder. I do, because I am the author of the folder. And do I trust the authors of the parent folder? I'm going to say yes and check this. Okay. I'm now going to create a file. Let's call it test.c. Now, what I do want to do is just make the font a little bit larger for you. But before I do that, you'll see that it prompts us to install the recommended extensions for C. You can click Show Recommendations or Install, but for right now, I'm going to leave that off and say Don't Show Again. Do you want to ignore all extension recommendations? I'll say yes. Okay, so I'm going to do Control, comma, and then to get back to the settings, I'll make this larger so you can see it, and we'll make it size 22. One other setting I like is the autosave, so I'm going to check that. So it autosaves, and to close the Explorer, I can do Control B. Okay, from here, I'm going to type a simple C file. So I'm going to include my standard input output header, and then I'm going to create a main function. And then within the main function, I'm going to do something like puts this is a test file. Okay, I'm going to put a semicolon here and then return 0 at the end. And I'll save that. Well, it's actually auto-saved for me. So what I can do now is I can configure this, and maybe in subsequent videos, I'll talk about configuring the default build task and configuring the tasks. But for right now, all I'm going to do is open up a terminal, which I can do by clicking on New Terminal, or I can use the keyboard shortcut, which is Control Shift, and then the key right below the escape key, which gives you that tilde and the back tick. And I'll click on that, and I can open this up, and I can compile this program with the command gcc test.c -o for output, and then we'll just name the output test. And you see it went ahead and compiled. And now I can do a dot and a / and run test, and you'll see it outputs this is a test file. Okay, so that is the demonstration on a C file. To close the terminal, I can either just kill it with this, I can exit out, or I can do Control D. I love my keyboard shortcuts, so I did Control D. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to close this window with Control W, and then I'm going to do Control K F. Okay, and that's going to close the current folder. Now to open a new folder, I can do Control K, Control O. And you'll see it prompts me to create a new folder. I'm going to do C++ programs and hit enter, and I'll click OK. And now we've got this C++ programs. I can create a new file with Control N, and then I can save it with Control Shift S, and it's going to save it in the C++ programs, and we'll call this one test.c++. And I'm going to hit enter to save it. Okay, so now we have this test C++ file. I'm going to use Control B to close out the Side Explorer, and I'm going to start by including IOStream, and then I'm going to have my main function here, and I'm going to say std : C out, and then 2 left arrows, and we'll say something like, this is a test. And let's do an escape. And we'll do std : end line and put a semicolon there. Our program is okay. So now what we'll do is open the terminal, and what I'll do is G++, to use the G++ compiler that came with Build Essential, and I'm going to do test.cpp and output test. And you'll see that it went and compiled. Now I'll run test, and it'll say, this is a test, okay? And so that's how you run C and C++ programs in Visual Studio Code on a Chromebook. This is an AMD Chromebook. The ARM Chromebook might be slightly different. I unfortunately don't have one of those, so I can't comment on that. But I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications, as it really does help the channel grow. And I hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.